A new story about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has emerged, and this one sounds so unusual that it immediately caught attention across the royal press. According to a newly resurfaced account, a former insider described a bizarre late-night delivery arranged during one of Andrew's official overseas trips. The claim comes from someone who was there, someone working within British diplomatic circles at the time, and the details have now been repeated in a major new biography of Queen Elizabeth II. What makes the story so intriguing is not only what was delivered, but the suggestion that it became Andrew's top priority while he was supposed to be representing Britain abroad. And for many royal watchers, it fits into a much wider pattern of stories that have followed him for years. Stories about entitlement, awkward behavior, and priorities that often seemed out of step with public expectations. Today, we are looking at the leaked account of that strange hotel delivery, the eyewitness who spoke about it, another diplomatic incident that left officials stunned, and why Andrew is once again facing questions over how he behaved when he held one of the most high-profile roles of his royal life. If you enjoy royal news with real detail and no nonsense, stay with me. The story appears in Robert Hardman's new biography, Elizabeth II, In Private, in Public, The Inside Story. Hardman is one of the best-known royal writers in Britain, and his work often draws on interviews with people who were inside government, the palace, and diplomatic circles. In this case, he refers to the memories of a British diplomat in Moscow who recalled one of Andrew's trade visits to Russia. Now, remember, this was during the years Andrew served as the UK's special representative for international trade and investment. It was a serious role. He was expected to build relationships, promote British business, and strengthen ties overseas. But according to this diplomat, something else appeared to be taking center stage. Hardman wrote that Andrew's top priority seemed to be the acquisition of a particular item. And what was it? A fur hat. Yes. According to the account, Andrew was so focused on finding the right fur hat that several were reportedly delivered to his hotel late in the evening for him to choose from. Then came the line that really got people talking. The diplomat claimed the hats were brought by some very pretty shop assistants. That one sentence has turned a curious story into a headline-making one because suddenly it was no longer just about shopping. It became another anecdote raising questions about judgment, priorities, and behavior during an official trip. To be clear, this is one person's recollection quoted in a biography. We do not have a palace response attached to the story, and the exact date of the trip has not been specified in the extract now circulating. But even so, it has spread quickly because it sounds exactly like the kind of tale that sticks in the public mind. And it is not the only diplomatic story now being discussed. Former British ambassador to Italy, Sir Ivor Roberts, has previously recalled another uncomfortable moment involving Andrew during a 2004 trip to Florence. According to Sir Ivor, Andrew was introduced to a member of the famous Schiaparelli family linked to the historic fashion house. Andrew allegedly replied, "I've never heard of you." Sir Ivor later described the remark as gratuitously rude. That comment says so much because it came from a senior ambassador speaking on the record. It was not an identified gossip. It was an experienced diplomat saying publicly that the behavior had crossed a line. These stories are now getting renewed attention because Andrew's reputation has already been badly damaged in recent years. He stepped away from royal duties after the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. His military roles were removed, public appearances became rare, and his former status within the monarchy changed dramatically. Then came another extraordinary headline this year. In February, Andrew was arrested by Thames Valley Police on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Reports said he spent 11 hours in custody while officers searched his home on the Sandringham estate. He was later released under investigation. That legal cloud alone would keep any public figure in the news. But alongside it came a very public housing saga. Earlier this year, Andrew was pushed out of Royal Lodge, the 30-room Windsor property he had occupied for years. Royal Lodge had become symbolic of his refusal to step back quietly. He then moved to Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate in Norfolk, a much smaller and more private residence. But even that may not be the end of it. For a while, he dug in his heels, refusing to leave the temporary residence of Wood Farm for his permanent home, Marsh Farm. Royal author Robert Jobson recently said the property had been wrecked, complaining about what he described as a Peaky Blinders caravan added to the side of the building. He said the house had once looked quite nice and questioned what had been done to it. Jobson then went even further, saying Andrew had to be taken dragging and screaming out of Royal Lodge and hinting that history could repeat itself with his continued complaining about Marsh Farm. Whether that is dramatic language or genuine insider opinion, it adds to the picture many critics already have of him. And that's why the Moscow story has landed so strongly. On paper, it is a small anecdote about a shopping request in a hotel. But in the wider context of Andrew's life, it becomes another piece of a much larger puzzle. A royal envoy abroad focused on a personal purchase to be delivered by beautiful shop attendants, no less. A senior ambassador calling him rude. A battle over where he lives. Repeated stories about resistance, status, and privilege. For many, it all feels connected. Part of a larger pattern of disturbing behavior. There was once a time when Andrew had a very different image. He served in the Royal Navy during the Falklands War and was often seen as confident and energetic. But that version of Andrew feels very distant now. Perhaps it was never real at all, only for show. Andrew is now laying low in Marsh Farm, but sources say he's fuming. Behind the scenes, he is struggling to accept this new reality. His home has been said to have a terrible smell and a pest problem that he cannot overcome. He's isolated with no visitors, and his outings are limited and usually covered by the press. With what we know now, we can expect there will be more to come. Today, even an old story about a late-night delivery can dominate headlines because people no longer see it as trivial. They see it as revealing. So, what do you think? Was the fur hat story harmless and blown out of proportion? Or does it tell us something real about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor during those years abroad? Let me know in the comments. Do you think the delivery was odd or just normal behavior for someone on business? If you enjoy factual royal coverage with weekly updates, make sure you subscribe before you go. Thanks for watching.